What's up, you guys, and welcome to Read the Room. My name is Chase the Dark Sage, and today I'm your host for a bit of a different type of video. I guess it's kind of like a reaction video. This is going to be the first time we do a reaction type of video on this channel right here, and I thought, why not do it over JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? And in fact, one of the more confusing parts of Steel Ball Run itself. That's why we got the Steel Ball Run color still going right here. But my boy Matt linked me this video while the whole D4C chocolate disco thing was happening, basically when Johnny got shot 3 times by Wake Up people, Diego and Valentine. And he said, you need to watch this video in case you don't understand that concept. Now, I know some people commented and tried to explain that concept to me, whether it be on the YouTube or the Patreon. And, you know, I was like, all right, this still makes no sense to me based off of what we got in the actual manga itself. But I thought to myself, let me go ahead and watch this big YouTuber named xFort's and react to his video on, what is it? The most confusing stand in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And I'm just ready to see what this explanation is going to be, because that part definitely was a bit, I call that a butt pull. And if you don't know what a butt pull means, it basically means something that really just comes out for convenience factors rather than actually being led up to or built up upon. And while I do like butt pulls in some instances, if it's like a really cheesy type thing, with me, when it comes to JoJo's, if it's a butt pull, I kind of let it slide because that's a bizarre nature in JoJo's. It's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure after all. But needless to say, I do want to get an explanation because I feel like Steel Ball Run is one of the more calculated / meticulous parts of JoJo that we have gotten up to so far. So to see how this D4C ability is explained, with how 3 different people were able to both shoot Johnny, well, all shoot Johnny at the same exact time. They all remember it, even though it wasn't them from that original world. Or possibly it could have been, I don't know. But they all retain that memory, even though it was 3 different people. Even the people in the park saw 3 different people. Yeah, it's a very confusing situation. So I do want to react to this xFort's thing and see if I get a bit more clarity on the situation right here. So before we actually get into that, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and check out the Patreon. You get to see a lot of these videos way earlier than I actually upload them on YouTube itself. So without further ado, let's get into this reaction. All right, so we got the volume good, we got the video ready. Shout out to xFort's for this video. Like I said, the video is called The Most Confusing Stand in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'll leave a link to it in the description down below so you guys can check it out. I'm pretty sure most of you guys already checked it out, but just to give me a bit more clarity on the situation, I wanted to react to it and see what my thoughts were on this situation right here. And if you want more reactions in terms of like certain videos, whether it be JoJo videos or other manga related that I have read, let me know in the comment section down below. But let's actually go ahead and get into it. xFort's. All right.
As fans of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I'm sure we could all agree that the series is no stranger to making its readers feel confused at times. You know, with the whole "it just works" meme and all, but for the most part, I mean,
for JoJo's, like I said, I excuse it in JoJo's because it's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's not JoJo's standard, you know, exploration. It's not that. So with the quirkiness and the funny humor that JoJo kind of brings to the actual manga itself, I kind of let a lot of things slide, but it seems like there's an actual explanation for this D4C ability. So yeah, let's go ahead and continue the video. But like he said,
whenever JoJo leaves you disoriented, it's for a reason. Whether it's to instill the fear of the unknown by putting the readers in the perspective of its characters being attacked by a stand whose ability is unknown. And something I've noticed the series creator Hirohiko Araki really likes to do, especially when it comes to the series' main villains, is to show an impossible situation that doesn't make any sense at first, but
yeah, just like with Dio's The World situation when Polnareff was coming up the stairs, because I remember this panel. First of all, this coloring is beautiful right there. But I remember that situation where he was like, Polnareff, step up those stairs if you want to defy me, but go down those stairs if you still want to be by my side. And Polnareff was trying to go up, and literally, when you know Dio's The World stand ability, you got to realize that he was running down them stairs, picking Polnareff up, putting him right back down, and running right back up them stairs and be like, whew. Time stopped. I mean, time starts again. Like, why was he doing that? Like, I get it. And then also the fact that Jotaro and Dio were both fighting and they were both floating up in midair, just hitting each other with punches. And then literally Jotaro was like, I gotta run. And then he just starts flying away. We have never seen that ability ever. So that's hilarious right there. But like I said, it's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I was so swept up in the moment when I first saw that. I was like, all right, that was fire. But then when I watched it over again, because that fight is just so fire, I was like, how is Jotaro flying? How does he just know how to fly? Hold up. There are certain things where I'm just like, all right, All right, like the whole Napier thing where he could just be sent offline from Polnareff's stand. How does Silver Chariot have that ability? Like, we literally got shown that ability in the middle of part 3. Okay, let's go ahead. I was going off on a tangent right there. Let's go ahead.
But later be explained after a stand's ability is revealed. Like in Stardust Crusaders, when Polnareff had encountered Dio nearing the end of the part, and each step Polnareff took towards Dio, he would suddenly appear back at the bottom of the stairs, and had described this experience with Dio's stand as being completely beyond his understanding, leaving both the characters and us the viewers pretty confused. But later, once the world's ability was revealed as being able to stop time, it explains Polnareff's experience, which turned out to just be Dio stopping time, walking down the stairs, picking Polnareff up, putting him back at the bottom of the stairs, and then running back.
He literally just said the exact same thing that I said. That's hilarious. No, that's hilarious that he said the exact same thing that I said. Let's get back into it.
Up the stairs. And this is just one example of Araki's intentional confusion writing technique. But in today's video, I'll be attempting to explain by far the most convoluted, incomprehensible, and confusing sequence of events in all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Wait, did you guys think this video was going to be about King Crimson? Oh, damn, if you thought King Crimson was confusing, just wait until you get to D4C.
The editing is on point. I'm not gonna cap. The editing
so
is
yeah,
very
this video isn't about King Crimson, but rather dirty deeds done dirt cheap from the 7th part of JoJo's Steel Ball Run, and more specifically D4C's introduction arc and the sequence of events leading up to the reveal of the stand's ability, which is another one of those impossible situation scenarios we talked about earlier, and in my opinion is the most confusing arc in all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And I'm sure those that have read Steel Ball Run could agree. So what is it?
I will agree. Very confusing arc, but a very fire arc. So let's go ahead and get back into it.
About the D4C arc that makes it so confusing? Well, pretty much everything. This arc has a...
Also wants to see if he's going to understand. I mean, not understand. Ooh, what am I talking about? I also want to see if he's going to explain the whole Valentine thing getting switched out and things like that. I feel like he is, since this is the most confusing stand rather than the most confusing moment in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna do a whole breakdown of how Valentine was using D4C in order to take him to other Valentines, switch over to other Valentines, go back to the original world or the base world. So let's go ahead and get back into it.
And to briefly talk about the 3D model itself, this is the most accurate recreation we came up with that best represents this arc's location. Although some liberties were taken, because in the manga, some parts of the city were drawn differently from chapter to chapter, most notably being the park's entrance. And also, the model has all the streets closed off that would otherwise be much longer, and this was due to only wanting to focus on the parts of the street relevant to the arc. But other than that, it's pretty damn accurate. So finally, let's get started. The arc begins at...
I'm not gonna lie, the whole rendering, the whole part of this whole Chocolate Disco / D4C arc right here, that's a lot. That is a lot. I'm not gonna cap to you. So that is insane to go to that length for a video. I respect the determination. Oh, I respect it. I wouldn't have went to that length, but it's a very interesting concept, especially the way that he's explaining it. But let's go ahead and get back into it.
The times just weren't adding up, making this arc even more of a headache than it already was. So I checked the original Japanese pages, and with the help of some of the community's translators, we found that the English scans had a small typo, and the time here was actually 3:59 p.m., which made everything
Okay, so this is interesting because he says that the scans itself kind of have a bit of, I guess, a typo issue itself coming from the Japanese scans to English. So I wonder if there's any other scans or like any other pages / chapters I've read that kind of have this mistranslation. Now, obviously this isn't officially translated, like actually going through Viz and things like that. I obviously know that. So these are the risks that you take when actually reading scans, but I wonder what else would be different when coming from the official translations to these scans itself. It makes me very curious. Let's go ahead and continue.
And we see that the children, the twins, and the painter inside the park all witness Johnny being shot.
Okay, so this is the thing right here. They all three shot Johnny, Valentine, Diego, and Wake Up People. But my thing is, how did, not Wake Up People, but how did Valentine move all the way from behind Gyro to right behind Johnny? That's the one thing. Now, obviously, he could have pulled another Valentine from another world and done it, but I don't think it explicitly says that, but it could be like an assumption type thing after you really learn what his ability is. So That's a very interesting thing right here. But like I said, I need to see the conversion of how all three of these people remember doing the exact same thing. But then it's like, oh, boom, really only one person. Well, I guess multiple of them did it, but only one person in that world technically did it.
And it's finally stated that D4C's ability is to allow neighboring worlds to exist simultaneously in the same location. Whatever that means. So in theory, after D4C's ability is revealed, it should be able to explain
I feel like that's gonna be like literally the most important thing that's about to be. It's about to hinge on that literal explanation right there. It literally has to like just hang on that explanation right there, because allowing neighboring worlds to exist simultaneously in the same location. But how did he manage to get one Diego, another Wake-Up people to shoot Johnny? What was their purpose of shooting Johnny? Or were they all under the assumption that it was the president? Let's go ahead and see.
So we have three different sponges representing three different universes. Sponge 1 being the base universe where Valentine shoots Johnny and the painter is the witness. Sponge 2 being the universe where Wekapipo is attacked by Valentine, shoots him, and the twins are the witness. And Sponge 3 being the universe where Diego shoots at Wekapipo and the children are the witnesses. So originally, it would seem D4C's ability would be able to seamlessly merge all three of these universes, making them become one, with no duplicates, but rather replacing certain base universes.
But yeah, but that's not possible if so, because there's always one of those characters existing in each of those universes until one of them is killed within the base universe. I'm assuming, I'm theorizing, let me theorize real quick. There's supposed to be at least one of these characters in each of the universes that's supposed to be killed. Well, but then again, after we were shown Diego with the world, it's shown that these universes don't have to necessarily follow the exact same rules or follow the exact same timeline of events from the base world itself, because in one world, in our world necessarily, we have Diego who was ripped in half from D4C's ability, but then we also have another Diego with a whole new stand ability from a whole different world. This boy Valentine was searching a whole bunch of different worlds while he was getting hit with Tusk Act 4 looking for a Diego. He was like, okay, I just need to look for a Diego because he has the same type of drive as me. All these characters are the same within each of these universes, but it's weird that these three universes collide because, like he said in that one excerpt right there, allowing neighboring worlds to exist all the same location or something like that. So to make them all converge like that, that means that the characters from each of these worlds technically have to converge on top of each other. But that would mean that with the sponge principle, they'll be annihilated because two of them will be hitting each other at the same time. Let's keep going though. Let's keep going. The brain is working.
And in chapter 75, the stand gets its ability redefined with its rules established, saying the ability to travel limitlessly to other dimensions by getting caught in between two objects.
See, when Araki, which I do love Araki for doing this, when he does the whole stand explanation thing right before the next chapter, right? I like that. But also in this case, he could kind of rewrite things and kind of change it up just a tiny little bit to make you misremember certain things, especially when this was a monthly series. You're reading one chapter a month, unlike me, who's reading a few chapters every month for the whole channel. You have to remember all this stuff or have to reread certain things to kind of really remember what was happening, or you might have to do a whole reread session. So yeah, I guess this could really work, and it can kind of just fly under the radar if it was like a monthly series and this was your first time reading it while it was going. But as a binger and other people who were rereading, especially the people that are reading along with me, you'll understand like, okay, wait, that don't make no sense, especially with what we see way later on in the D4C Love Train arc and the D4C arc itself. So let's go ahead and get back into it.
And during his fight, right before he shoots, we see that the American flag is falling on him. And in the next page, he shoots Johnny Joestar and is no longer in the same alleyway, but instead on the street that's in front of the park, which heavily implies that right before Wekapipo shot, he was brought into the base universe and shot our Johnny, which...
Okay, but the thing was, I thought when you literally go through two things, you're being transported in a different world in the exact same location. Because I remember when Gyro and Valentine were both fighting, he was like, okay, I have all this water around me. Even if you go underwater and, try and do the whole little disappearing act, you'll still appear underwater, like you'll drown. So I remember Gyro saying something like that. So does this go against that law or principle that he already established? Well, that he later established? Let's see.
So like Weka Pipo, right before Diego shot, he was brought from his universe into the base universe by Valentine to shoot Johnny. And we can see Universe 2's Weka Pipo in the base universe, still confused by when he first shot Johnny. Which is further confirmed as when Diego approaches this Weka Pipo, he makes no mention of them just fighting each other, because this Weka Pipo was the one that fought Valentine. So right here, you have Diego from Universe 3 talking to Weka Pipo from Universe 2, who are both now in the base universe. So up until this point, things are kind of making...
So this is the thing then. If these are Diegos from different universes, why... Diego and Wake Up people from different universes, why were they all aligning themselves or going against the president and aligning themselves with Johnny, Joestar, and Gyro? Because there's no corpse for them to fight for. So what was Johnny and Gyro doing in the other universes if there was no corpse to fight for? Their whole purpose of teaming up and to get the president is for the corpse. So now this part gets a little more confusing, seeing as though, what were those other Diegos, like, what was their beef with the president? What was their beef with Johnny and Gyro? What was Wake Up people really aligning himself with when it comes to Johnny and Gyro? Like, why were they fighting? Because the only reason they were fighting in this world was for the corpse pieces. Unless literally, like I said, it's the same exact chain of events, but it can't happen because only one world has the corpse pieces. No, this don't make sense. This don't make sense. What were they all doing? Like I said, either being an enemy towards the president, well, both of them were technically enemies towards the president, or enemies, or aligning themselves with Johnny and Gyro for if there was no corpse pieces for them to truly get throughout this world, and in the other worlds outside of the base world. Like when we saw Hot Pants and Diego teaming up to fight the president, they was on a search to get money and diamonds and things like that, because the president said that certain things will replace for certain other needs, I guess. Like in the other world they pulled Diego and Hot Pants from to fight Diego and Hot Pants of the base world, he was like, all right, they was probably fighting for diamonds and money from the president itself. But why? Like, what led to those events? See, that's the confusing part. Like, each of these universes has something different happening in each of these universes. There's a timeline of events, but are they all leading to the exact same points in each one? Is there literally a causality of certain actions having to happen within each universe? See what I'm saying? That's when that time travel, different dimension, different world stuff really gets to getting confusing. This is a multiverse of anime.
And once they get into their fight with Valentine, it's then established that no two versions of the same person can exist in the same universe. But Where were base universe Diego and Weka Pipo when their alternate versions came into the base universe? Maybe it can be explained that they were swapped out simultaneously, so essentially replacing them, but... Yeah,
but if they were swapped out, then why would this Diego still be looking for the corpse pieces to fight the president for? See what I'm saying? That ish gets really confusing. See, once you establish that, the different world versions of these characters got switched out, now that just adds even more confusion on top of this theory right here. I'm theorizing based off another theory right here. Has Araki came out and stated what D4C actually did? I need to know.
Because the corpse parts are existing in both Universe 2 and Universe 3. As we see when through Weka Pipo's perspective, which should be Universe 2, he mentions the eye. And through Diego's perspective...
I literally just said all this. Oh, see, me and this xFort's dude, we on the same page right now.
And I haven't even mentioned the witnesses yet, which I guess could be explained that Valentine took the twins from Universe 2 and the children from Universe 3 and...
Y'all remember when I said when Dio ran down the stairs and got Polnareff and put him down every time he told Polnareff to come up? What if Valentine literally said, all right, Valentines, we're having a Valentine meeting right now. Sit down and listen, I got a plan. Y'all know Diego, y'all know Wake Up people, y'all know Gyro, and y'all know Johnny. They're giving me problems in this base world. I need all you guys to help me out real quick. I need you guys to go in the park, take these children, move them across and accordingly to how I need them to be to witness 3 different shootings. So that way when Gyro comes through after he defeats Chocolate Disco, because we know Chocolate Disco is just a lackey. After Gyro defeats him, he's gonna have to ask these kids what happened, because I need to confuse him for the sake of plot, guys. For the sake of plot. Meeting adjourned. Meeting adjourned. Valentine here. Valentine there. We good? All right. Let's move out. That's how it had to happen, because what? Nah, come on, let's keep going now.
But I do have one last possible idea that could just maybe make sense of this arc.
Okay,
but
go
I'd
ahead,
have to work
King.
under the assumption that D4C's ability falls more in line with its overlapping dimensions explanation. So maybe instead of seeing events happening in other universes...
See, for me, I think the overlapping universe term, when I heard it, I was a bit confused with that, because I was like, all right, can you fuse different universes together? I was confused a bit by that initially when I first heard it. But looking back at it, I'm a bit more confused, because we now see that Valentine could just take other things from different dimensions and bring it along with him. You get what I'm saying? So, like I said, literally, why didn't he do any of this if he could do this against Hot Pants and Diego? Instead, he pulled two different versions of them out the same universe. And that means that each of these universes have to have some type of causality or situation that is an inevitable that has to happen each and every single time. I'm just saying.
What we were seeing through Weka Pipo and Diego's perspectives were possible realities that could happen within.
So now we're going with possible. This theory is getting muddy. Now, I'm not saying theory is bad. The theory is getting muddy because we're trying to piece together what Araki was trying to cook with this. I know Araki was trying to do that whole thing where it's like, oh, the stand ability, it's very strange and overpowered when we first see it. But then later on, when we get more of a grasp on what happens and the actual enemy itself explaining the power, that's when it gets a bit more, defined, I'll say. So yeah, now with this theory right here, trying to make things make sense, it's making things a bit more confusing for your boy, at least.
So if this was how D4C worked, this arc could be explained. But unfortunately, that's not how D4C works. So even after all of this, I still don't understand what was happening on the streets of Philadelphia from 359 to 413. And that's why, in my opinion, D4C and this arc are just the most confusing JoJo has ever gotten.
And this looks
and
like
that's the video, guys. The most.
Yeah, okay, so this is about it for the video. We'll cut it off right here. So let's actually go ahead and talk about it. All right, so we just got done watching that video, and it's a bit confusing. It's a bit confusing, especially seeing as though this is a guy's opinion on YouTube and his theory. I'm not trying to be the one I say a guy on YouTube. I'm a guy on YouTube. You get what I'm saying? So this is a bit more muddy now that I have this theory in line. I do like the lengths that he went to actually recreate the whole situation and the whole area itself. I do like that thought process itself, but the whole situation of this being see, when I first went to this video, I thought it was gonna be like concrete evidence right here. I feel like this was more of like a theory video, which can work in some aspects, I do agree, but also he seemed to be very confused as well, to where there is no definitive answer of how this all was able to happen. I'm cool with it because it's Araki and because it's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, not JoJo's standard exploration. It's none of that. It's not JoJo's standard expedition. It's not. It's JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. I got to go on an adventure. It has to be bizarre in some natures. And obviously with D4C's ability, I would say that is the most confusing. Right behind his ability, I think the next most confusing ability for me would have to be probably Diavolo, like he said in this video. Diavolo's ability, while it isn't confusing per se like D4C's, I would say it's the second most confusing, meaning that I don't have a problem understanding it, but when you first see it, you're like, what? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you're very confused. But this right here, this was literally a speculation / theory video with no concrete evidence. I need to see what Araki was cooking. If Araki says like, hey, I pulled that out my butt and I wanted to change it last minute, just like he did with Valentine's design, I'm cool with that. Araki is the GOAT. Araki be cooking. I'm cool with what he does on that. Does it make sense? Of course not, but this is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Things are supposed to make sense. Your literal spirit is manifesting another being of energy to fight for you. It's not making sense, even though I do kind of, really love when certain laws are defined within certain constructs and structures to where, boom, I know that this could happen within the law of reality that you've given us already previously. D4C's ability is a bit confusing, not factoring in this ability, but factoring in what he usually does later on within the series itself. I did like this video though. I like the breakdown. The editing was really on point. xFort's is a guy that seems like he really knows what he's talking about, and the video was paced really well as well. I feel like I said well too many times right there. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think about this down in the comment section down below. I know someone else recommended me another video, but I wanted to watch this one because my boy Matt was telling me about this one. I was like, all right, I'm gonna see this one. My boy Matt is the person that keeps telling me, you know, you gotta get into JoJo's and things like that. He was the one that got me into reading Still Ball Run before it released English. Like we still on par 5 in America right now. So this is insane right now. So yeah, this video was very interesting. None of my answers were answered, but I did like the theory and the alignment of certain things of like, oh, there's a base world, there's world 1 Diego, and then there's world 2 Wake Up people. I did like that concept right there, but I feel like it wasn't too concrete enough for me to be like, okay, I'm rocking with that. But also he's working in the confines of what Araki has established later on. So it kind of is like a retcon, but not necessarily a retcon, but it kind of plays with the matters of what your ability actually can do and giving you a different ability overall. But this could be like an ability 1A and ability 1B type thing. I don't know, but we can talk about it in the comment section down below. Like I said, thank you guys for watching. If you are new to the channel, you haven't already, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and show your support by commenting down below some of your theories on how this whole ability thing works. I'm probably going to post a full version on Patreon because this video right now raw is like 40 something minutes, but the YouTube version I'm going to condense it down so that way y'all don't have to watch me just be like, ooh, oh, ooh. Y'all don't want to see that the whole time. So full version of this reaction will be on the Patreon. So if you want to check out the Patreon, lowest tier is $1, and you get to see things weeks ahead of time on the Patreon rather than on the YouTube here. But I say thank you guys for watching. This was a bit confusing, but as usual, playlist right here, last video / reading right here. Go ahead, check out these 2 things. Love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. xFort's, shout out to you for making this video, even though I'm a bit more confused, but I do like the insight. I do like the enlightenment a bit. But yeah, Dark Sage out. Peace.